Okay, so once you have all three of your flowers cut out and you have your stem made, the next thing you're going to do is check that your stem fits inside the hole of your flower. And if it doesn't fit, this one's a little bit tight, it won't go in, you're going to get a round file and you're going to ream that hole out a little bit, just like this, okay? Not too much, and then you're going to try again. Okay, and now it fits in just right. Now the other thing you want to make sure is that your wire is nice and straight because sometimes it won't go on if it's curved, okay, if the wire has a curve to it. Okay, so look at that. We got that petal all the way up to there. So now what I want to make sure is I want to make sure that I clean where it's going to be soldered. So you just take a little bit of Comet and you're just going to scrub the flower and the stem, okay, right before you solder it, because solder won't flow to a non-clean area. All right, so I'm just going to scrub both those up. I'm going to rinse it off. I'm going to dry it. And then we're going to solder this first petal to the stem. All right, so come over with me to the soldering station. Always want to start with hot solder. That's the first solder, and that's the solder that you always start with. Soldering station's very messy. So I like to clean it up before I get started because it would make me crazy trying to solder in this mess. So there's too many things over here. All right. What you need is flux, okay? And if the flux is hard, you just add a little bit of water and you mix the flux. So it's like you get almost like you want yogurt, you know? You want like a yogurt feel to it. The soldering stations are a mess. Okay, so I am going to put the flux on the stem, okay? Then I'm going to put the flux on the flower, a little bit on the front and a little bit on the back. And now I'm going to slide the flower front side facing towards the stem, okay? So now my front is towards the stem. I'm going to put it in my third arm. I'm going to get a tiny piece of hard solder, and you want to flux the solder as well, okay? So I just want little pieces. I'd rather have 2 or 3 tiny pieces that you can barely see than I would one big piece. And I'm going to put that on the front of the flower and slide that down. And I'm also going to put a little bit on the back of the flower, because I really want this to stick. Okay, so you see it? You see it there? I'm going to put just a little bit more because I really want it to go the first time. The more solder you use, the more mess you have to clean off, but you really want it to stick, okay? All right, so now my solder is in place. I'm gonna close up my flux. I'm gonna clean up so that I don't leave a mess. All right, put everything back. Who wants to work in this? I'm going to grab a soldering pick. So you hold the soldering pick in the hand that you write with, and you hold the gas in the hand that is your non-dominant hand. So I'm going to turn on my gas until I hear it hiss. my gas. I don't want to touch this because it's very, very hot. It's probably at 1500 degrees. I put it in here. Whoops, it was still hot. Okay, my gas is still on. And now I have the first petal soldered on. Okay, I'm gonna go clean this up. I'm gonna put it, scrub it up with a wire brush and some Comet and get it really clean, and then I'm gonna begin to fold those petals up. Okay?